Chair recognizes Mr. Bell from Missouri.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the 80s, there was the war on drugs. That didn't go so well. We essentially created classes of criminals for people, citizens, who just needed help. And I won't recount that entire history, but I don't think that we realized the error of our ways until it impacted more affluent communities, particularly with the opioid epidemic. And so now Republicans have began a new campaign, a war on immigrants. And while Republicans and Democrats both recognize the need to strengthen our borders, instead of sitting down and actually fixing the border situation, as has been alluded to, or actually we did that, but then after supporting it, Republicans voted against it after their boss told them not to, which really would have been a win for the American people. So as a former prosecutor, I recognize policing and community relationships go hand in hand. You have to have them in order to be effective with law enforcement. And to get bad people off the streets who are not going to commit a crime in front of a police officer, oftentimes it's our people in our communities who can help get those people off the street by sharing and cooperating with law enforcement, but that starts with trust. And understanding, as a former prosecutor, limited resources. We have to be considerate of how we utilize those resources. And so my first question, Mr. Byron, I'm gonna go quick because I want to try to get to y'all. Why will requiring a local police department to honor extrajudicial ICE detainers or risk losing federal funding make our cities less safe?
Well, you're taking resources away from whatever the higher priority is. So if you're talking about carrying out mass deportation and having state and local police detain people who are not public safety threats, then you're talking about in New York City, they're spending $1,500 a day on a bed. So that's $1,500 taken away from other public safety priorities.
And Mayor Wu, and congratulations again as well.
Thank you.
And first, you're welcome for St. Louis born and bred Jason Tatum. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Why is it in Boston's best interest to make sure people who are experiencing domestic violence or are victims of violent crime feel comfortable coming forward to law enforcement with the knowledge that local police are not reporting them to ICE?
We need those who have information. We need those who are victims and survivors of crime to know that they can come forward and get the help that they need. And when that happens, we keep everyone safer.
Absolutely. And many law enforcement agencies have articulated that their primary responsibility is to keep communities safe by focusing on violent crime and public safety threats. However, deputizing requires officers to take on federal immigration duties, diverting resources and personnel from their core mission. So when cities use their discretion, and Mr. Byron, this is a quick question for you, do you believe that this additional burden makes communities safer, or does it risk overextending local departments at the expense of addressing serious crimes?
I think states are best positioned to answer that question. It certainly can if you're imposing a mandate that is distracting from their public safety mission. And it's interesting to note that the majority's bill on this, H.R. 32, has an exception written in there for witnesses and victims of crimes. If you don't report them, it's okay under that bill, except no one's walking around with a victim or witness badge on them. So when a police shows up and responds to a call, they don't know who's a witness or victim. So the idea that you can just cordon that off and put that to the side doesn't hold up.
I appreciate that. I'm just short on time. And Mayor Johnson, I have two quick questions for you, and you can give them the weight that you decide to give them. First, who has more world championships, the Cardinals or the Cubs? Mayor Adams, I don't want you in on that one. Can you tell us about the ways in which Chicago cooperates with federal law enforcement?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Violent crime in the city of Chicago is down. It continues to go down in my leadership because of our investments. Having trust between community and police, local police, is attributed to that. And our local police department allies and cooperates with federal agents around human trafficking, drug trafficking, getting guns off the street, getting gangs off the streets of the city of Chicago, and it has worked. And the first black first lady in the history of Chicago is a Cardinals fan. Shout out to Hazelwood East.
Hey, that's my school. Thank you. I yield back to the ranking member.
And it's the Yankees.
No
Chair-
questions for you, Mr. Howe.